Welcome back to another episode on Journey to Authenticity, the podcast designed to help you become your true authentic self, create a clear vision for life, and ultimately step into a journey of transformation. I'm Braden Belknap, a transformational life coach, speaker, and entrepreneur, here dedicated to help you break through those limitations so you can get those results in life. But what if society has put expectations on you? And the truth is, that's to all of us. But specifically for you, you've opted into some of those limitations. You've listened. You've listened to what your teachers told you, people you looked up to, and it's limited your life. That's exactly why we have Jessica Harris joining us today, because she did just that. Getting into the therapy world, she was taught that she may make 50, 60 grand, and she was there specifically for the impact, not for the money. And for a while, she opted into that belief system. But through personal development, breaking through panic attacks every single day, burnout, she created new processes, leaned into becoming her true authentic self and her best version of self. And naturally, she's crushed that six-figure mark. With that in mind, welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. We had your awesome fiance, Spencer, on sitting right here a couple months ago. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So just to jump right into things, what initially inspired one therapy, but to follow up, what initially inspired the business coaching of the other therapists?
Yeah, I think for me, as I was growing my therapy practice, I realized how much I loved the business and marketing side, which is funny because when I first started my therapy practice, I was telling everyone, like, I know nothing about business. I know nothing about marketing. Hopefully I get clients. Hopefully I can fill it up. But I was telling everyone, like, I know nothing. And then I ended up really having a huge passion for it. And I grew really fast. And so then I had like friends and people asking, like, how did you grow so fast? Especially filling up a private pay practice compared to insurance. I had a lot of people asking. So that's kind of what led to the coaching of like wanting to help some friends. And then I realized I really loved that. So then I decided to start a coaching business for it. I think I made a post on a random therapist Facebook group, like, who wants discounted coaching? I've really been enjoying it. And here's my growth. And I got so many comments. So I was like, okay, I guess I need to like register a business and make a separate business, get an agreement, get all the things in place so I can like start seeing them. So that's kind of what sparked all of that.
Absolutely. So at that point, when you made that post, were you working for yourself or were you working for somebody else doing therapy?
Yeah, I started my therapy practice and then I filled myself up with clients in 4 months. And so then it was and then I started hiring a bunch of therapists. And so then it was a few months after that I started coaching. So yeah, I was working for myself for my therapy practice.
That's amazing. As you know, it's known that if you're a therapist, you don't make a lot of money.
Yes. In grad school, like first day, it's like, hey, you're not in this field to make money. You're here to help people. And there was a little part that was like, oh, bummer. But it was also like, yeah, I've already heard that. I won't be here to make money, and that's okay. I'll help people. Which is sad that I've settled for that for a little bit, not very long.
And the truth is I'm sure all therapists do. The ones not making money because they're still out there, and the ones that are making money, right? Because that's what you're taught. And when you're going through that phase of immersing yourself in education, whether it's therapy or business or both, you're just a sponge. You're kind of taking it all in, and then you have to decipher what is the truth and what is not the truth. And you got to let go whatever doesn't serve you. But there's a millionaire in every single industry. Like, if you love something, you can make money with it. I mean, these lights or these canvases behind me, it's like there's millionaires in those industries. I don't have a passion for building lights or making canvases, but it's pretty cool that somebody else likes that and is making money with it.
Yeah, I remember looking up like, okay, here's kind of the average 50, 60 grand a year. It doesn't sound very appealing. Who's making more? And I would see like, okay, if you have your own private practice, then you can make like 70, 80 grand a year. And I remember thinking that sounded cool. And then there was like every once in a while, someone could make a little bit over 100 grand a year. Come to find out, there's actually a ton of therapists who can make a lot of money in private practice and who can make 6+ figures. But for my like Googling and research, I was like, okay, like 6 figures probably isn't possible, but that's okay. But I can at least get close to that. And that was a few years ago, and I thought that was like so much money. And so it's funny thinking about like what I thought was enough. And what was kind of the average. And then now seeing like, yeah, most therapists do make not very much. And I know a ton who make like well beyond six figures.
Yeah, and 100,000 is not a lot of money.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, it's not enough to live on with like, abundance and wanting to enjoy your life.
And in
it's
reality,
yeah.
it's a very small percentage that actually make over 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And being at that level, I still am like, I need more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get to eat steak every day for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Someday, just not right now. So jumping in, you obviously transitioned from therapy to coaching therapists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued, what initially inspired you to become a therapist?
Yeah, I've wanted to be a therapist since high school. I've always loved people. I've loved learning why people are the way that they are. I loved studying psychology. And I was always the one that was like the listener of my friends and like giving advice. And they would always come and vent to me. And so I think all of those things combined, and I knew I wanted something where I was like talking to people because I love people. So I think that's like what initially inspired me in high school. And then every single class I took in college, I was like, yep, this confirms it, this confirms it. And yeah, I was very excited to go down that therapy path.
Yeah, some of us are blessed to find our purpose young.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
I felt lucky.
Because I certainly feel lucky in that regard. But to anybody listening, if you're like, I didn't have that in high school, you don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep trying.
Yeah, because I changed anyways. And so, yeah.
Exactly. Your purpose is a mountain, right? You're going to climb up the mountain and you're going to get first 25% done. And then there might be a new trail and then you're going to go down that path.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't discredit anything that you did before then. You just build to and you keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, you're going to reach the peak, and then there's going to be another peak, and then you're going to climb a new mountain.
Oh, absolutely. Life's always throwing curveballs, and there's always things that like you think you have this plan, and like this is the way it's gonna go, and then it's like just kidding. Like life's taking you this way now instead.
Absolutely. So I'm sure that your journey hasn't been all sunshines and rainbows. Is that fair?
Yeah, very fair.
Was there any time in your career from becoming a therapist to now that you're like, you know what? Should I just throw in the towel?
Yeah, I can think of a few things. I mean, one, starting my therapy practice was chaos for a few different reasons. And then also some extreme burnout with coaching. But yeah, starting my therapy practice, I started to have some like pretty severe mental health things come up about 2 months prior. They were totally unrelated, just some life stuff was happening. And I mean, it was pretty bad, like to get vulnerable. I went to Instacare after I had like my first panic attack in my entire life. And my parents were driving me, and I remember like joking with them, like, I'm supposed to be starting my therapy practice in a couple months. And here I am on my way to like Instacare because I'm having like some insane panic attack, and I think my body's gonna like just give out on me, or I'm gonna die or have a heart attack, or I don't know what's happening. And then when I was there, and they were like, yeah, this is just a panic attack, and like helping me out. I was like joking because they were like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm a therapist. And yeah, like I'm here. Like, and a lot of my clients would come to therapy because they were like, I went to the ER. I thought I was having a heart attack. They told me it was a panic attack. They told me I needed to start therapy. And so like I knew the process, yet I'm like now needing all this like help. And like, okay, hopefully I can like still start my therapy practice in a couple months. And so that was a very, very humbling moment in my life. And yeah, that whole year was hell. And I had probably 100 panic attacks in a year, which I'd never experienced, severe intrusive thoughts and depression, which also I'd never experienced any of those. And my first week of starting my therapy practice, I tried taking like this hormone progesterone that was supposed to like help relax me. And it caused the worst week of my entire life, where I almost checked myself into a mental hospital all week long, but I didn't. And it was also the first week I'm seeing clients in my new practice. And so it's like so funny to think that this practice, like people see from the outside, is like thriving, and how'd you grow so fast? How'd you get so many clients? And my first week was a nightmare. Luckily, it was a blessing because I was seeing 24 clients at the practice I worked at prior a week. And I was like, there's no way I could have handled 24 clients with my mental state. But when I started my practice, I was able to see a lot less and still make more. And so I think I was only seeing like 7 clients that week, and yet I was making more than when I was seeing 24 clients. So I was able to handle it mentally. But I had some virtual clients where I am literally holding a fidget ball under my desk, and they can't see that because it's just virtual. So they only see here up. And I'm just trying to like fight another panic attack coming on. And I was very high functioning. Like when I talk about this time, I was very high functioning in my life. I was still getting stuff done. I wasn't stuck in bed. I was going throughout my day. I was accomplishing things. I was asking friends and family, like, am I acting okay? And they're like, yes, you're acting as normal as ever, even though it sounds like you're dying inside. But so I was giving really good work to my clients that week. Otherwise, I would have canceled the sessions and they all stayed with me. But it's like funny to think of I was like dying inside. And obviously, I'm a huge person of like boundaries, self-care. If you can't do something, it's okay. But I think it's just part of my story that it was a really chaotic and scary time in my life. And yet I still was like, this was part of my plan. This has been part of my plan for months. I'm starting my therapy practice at this time. So I'm going to make it happen at this time. And I did. And it all worked out and I grew and flourished. But yeah, it's not what people on the outside would see. So that was a huge
Absolutely.
like hurdle in my life for sure.
And I appreciate that vulnerability because so often times people look at the life coaches of the world, the therapists, and they think they have it figured out.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we have a lot of the techniques, the processes, the way to go about things to get a specific result figured out. That doesn't mean that we aren't going through the journey to figuring it out ourselves.
Totally.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
So how are you doing now today?
Oh yeah, much better. Like I with that particular thing, I got off gluing and figured out some other things, and that kind of got rid of all the mental health stuff that was consuming for honestly an entire year. It was pretty bad for a whole year, but that got better, and my therapy practice was still growing through that. And then the next hurdle that I went through was I started my coaching business while still running my therapy practice. And my therapy practice had 6 therapists, and I was a single mom. And just trying to like take care of mental health and physical health and social and dating and all of the things. And now I'm also then growing a coaching business where like the burnout was so bad. Like there were times where I just wanted to give up everything. And like people would talk about burnout, and I didn't understand what true burnout was until I hit true burnout. I'm like, oh, true burnout is you don't want to do anything ever again. Like you want to throw in the towel for everything. Like you are just so intensely overworked for months at a time. And so that was another huge thing where I was like, I need to set some major boundaries. And if I'm trying to grow my businesses to be very successful, like I need to stop. I like made a list. I was like, here's all the things I can't do in my life anymore. I just don't have the energy and capacity to do it anymore. And here's all the things I need to be adding in my life so that I can like fill my cup so that I can like survive essentially. Absolutely. So that was another huge and like very intense part that I went through, and took me quite a while to like really get the burnout under control too. But now I'm in a great spot where I have so much free time, like mental health feels great, like a lot of things I've like really worked on. But yeah, I think sometimes I forget when people hear my story, they're like, how'd you grow so fast? How'd you grow 2 businesses so fast? Like you must have just had like the perfect scenario. And I'm like, no, I was deeply struggling for quite a while. So
like, no.
Yeah.
I kept pushing, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, like I kept doing things despite what was happening. And it's like when people talk about it's not motivation that get like that you need to rely on discipline. And I was not motivated to do things when I was not even okay, but I was very disciplined always to just do it anyways.
No, you knew that it was the right thing to do. Yeah. Who wants to be having panic attacks and doing therapy, and then doing this, and then doing that, and being a single mom all in one?
Yeah.
No, you don't want to show up.
No.
I don't have kids, and there's days I don't want to show up.
Yeah, with kids, you have to show up from like 7 a.m. on.
It's the knowing the truth. It's this is who I am, and so you do it. You get what you become. At the end of the day, you were this version of yourself, and that's why you got that result. It's not because God created a silver platter and just handed it to you.
Yeah.
If it was that easy, everybody would do it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where anytime people talk about like growing a practice or like just any type of business, like it's not easy. Like, why is it not working? I'm like, if it was easy, everyone would do it. Like, it's supposed to be. It doesn't have to be. Like, because I'm a huge advocate too of like, things don't have to be hard in order for it to work. But sometimes they are going to be a little bit hard, and it's part of the process. Otherwise,
exactly,
everyone would be doing it.
Yeah, it's the video game of life. In any video game or anything, there's more than just you in this world. Your dream is somebody else's dream. Mm-hmm. So what determines you getting it over somebody else, or both of you getting it?
Yeah.
But in turns, not everybody's going to accomplish their dream, and it's because they're going to hit a wall and somebody's going to give up. Mm-hmm. And then there's the next level, and a certain amount of people are going to give up. It doesn't have to be hard, but you do have to go through the process of figuring things out. I look at it as a game. And once I figure out to get to the next level, I get stoked because I made it to the next level per se. Mm-hmm. Now you just got to figure out the next game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I love that. And making it enjoyable too. Because like, yes, things are hard with growing a business. And it doesn't, I'm getting out of the story, because I had a story for a long time of like, I'm only worthy of money if I work really hard. And now I'm like, nope, that story is shifting. Business actually can be easy too. And I can make a lot of money while working less. And so like trying to make things like fun, like they're still hard throughout it. And that's why not everyone does it. And you can still like have fun and flow. And I don't know if that's even what you were necessarily implying with the video game, but it reminded me of like, oh yeah. And things you can like also do fun things as you're up leveling too. Exactly.
What I essentially was saying was it can be fun.
Yeah.
But also every level you get to in your dream, the same person with the same dream will probably get to that level with you. Mm-hmm. But at every level, people are going to drop off naturally. Mm-hmm. And that's why the top 1% is the top 1%, because they kept going. Mm-hmm. And if you just keep going, it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. You can show up even when days are hard. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make it fun.
Yeah.
You can make it funner. Mm-hmm. But if you're struggling inside, it's going to be a tough day.
Yeah.
So you just keep pushing forward. Mm-hmm. And then you have better days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you make the next game plan of like, okay, how can I make things easier in my life while also sometimes things are going to be hard too.
Yeah, you overcame burnout. You overcame panic attacks. You overcame depression. You figured out how to make more money and have more free time. It's like, what can you not coach to? Mm-hmm. Again, most people look at these therapists and these coaches and think, oh, you guys have it all good. Mm-hmm. No, we're just willing to keep going even when we don't feel like it, because we know that if we give up, then it's going to be this way forever. Mm-hmm. We don't like that idea. Mm-hmm. So we keep going to figure it out so that we can enjoy our life more.
Yeah. And I think another reason a lot of people give up when it comes to business is it's not like guaranteed money. You're not like, okay, if you show up for this many hours, you're going to make this much money. And there's a lot of people that, especially in the beginning of business, you kind of have to show up a lot with making maybe a little bit of money. And then obviously the tables kind of turn where then you can work less and make more. But at least a lot of the therapists that I coach are like, well, the results aren't happening as quick. Like, this isn't happening. Like, why is this not working out? And it's like, if you were instantly going to get clients, every single person and their dog would be doing this. If you were guaranteed a 6-figure practice right away, like it wouldn't... Yeah, it like doesn't make sense. And I'm like, if someone told you in 1 year from now or 2 years from now, you could have a 6-figure practice, you would like do all the things knowing that like it would work. But because you don't know, that's where I feel like a lot of people give up. And a lot of people don't go to the next level in the video game like you were talking about, because there is no guarantee. And obviously I'm all about like following the smart strategies, which is what I teach therapists, and which is, well, for any entrepreneur, like follow someone who's done what you want and kind of follow those steps. But yeah, business ownership is scary. I mean, there's been a ton of times in my life too, even after having a lot of success, where I'm like, what if no one ever joins my program again? What if I never make any money? Like, what if this stops suddenly? But like just pressing forward. But I've just noticed, at least for myself, that's a huge reason why a lot of people don't move forward in business, is because it's not like a guaranteed thing. But it can be guaranteed if you follow smart systems. But a lot of people kind of give up when they're not seeing the results.
Yeah, you're not promised a result.
Yeah.
But you certainly are promised the exact opposite result if you quit.
Yeah.
And I would agree with that. A lot of the people I coach give up because the result is not guaranteed. But the one thing that you can guarantee on is yourself. If you build your confidence to truly be unstoppable, that when you say something, you do it. And if something doesn't happen the way you want, you grow and you just keep doing your best. Turns out if you keep going through some transformations, the processes that work, you're going to get the result.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's guaranteed. It's compound interest. The way money works is how everything works. If you just keep putting in the investment into yourself, into your therapy business, into whatever you're doing, at some point it will pay off.
Yeah. It's the same as like going to the gym, working out, like, you know, people kind of give up month 1 or 2, like, oh, well, I'm not really seeing the results. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to have maybe super noticeable results the first month or 2, but keep going and it's going to be very noticeable and you're going to have a lot of benefits. Absolutely. But it is hard when you're not seeing it right away.
So I'm curious, when you were going through your burnout, when you were going through these panic attacks, did you have your own therapist that you were working with, or how did you overcome what you were facing?
Yeah. When I was going through the mental health stuff, yeah, I for sure had a therapist. I'm trying to think. I was doing a lot of stuff. I was seeing someone for Reiki. I was seeing, I don't think I started breath work for a while until I was more into like the coaching, but I like doing monthly breath work, if not more, going to the gym, walking outside, like getting outside all the time, especially when things were really bad. I mean, I was doing everything under the sun. I was Googling everything under the sun, doing everything, like making sure that I had like good support from family, a ton of meditations. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's such like reading every single book on any topic that I could of like how to find more acceptance, trying to be a lot more present, trying to like fully accept all of the like deeply uncomfortable feelings and be okay with that. Yeah, I feel like cold plunges or like all the things, all the healing modalities. You name it, I probably looked into it and did it. And then I found things that worked really well for me. And I think some of the biggest things is, yeah, being able to talk to someone, whether that's through therapy or some of like the energy healing people that I went to, being outside in nature, honestly, was very healing. Running, going to the gym, and just balancing my life. Like these are my priorities. Here's what's most important. And I think one of the biggest things too is just spending some really like present time with my daughter and my family, and like really making sure my schedule was full of things that I really enjoyed. So yeah, I was a huge advocate for myself of doing all these things and for other people too. Like you don't have to struggle or suffer in silence. There's a way out, and it takes a lot of time sometimes. It doesn't have to, but yeah, like keep going and things will get better.
Absolutely. I often say, show me your schedule and I'll show you your life in 5 years.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Similar to show me your top 5 friends and I'll show you your life. I say the schedule because you can always overcome your current environment.
Yeah.
Right. And the one thing I love that you said is you went on a journey, the cold plunges, the meditation, the breath work. By the way, all those things are amazing. I've done all of them as well. But like you said, you figure out what works for you. Mm-hmm. The one thing that drives me crazy in the coaching world is you have to do this to get this result. Like a lot of people talk about morning routines and night routines. I say it's important to have one. What you do with it is your choice.
Yeah.
What I do works for me. I take a cold shower every morning. Freaking hate it 5 out of 7 days a week that I get in, but I freaking love it 7 out of the 7 days I get out. It works for me because it starts my day. But for somebody else, that might not work. Maybe it is meditation. Maybe it is breath work. And I do that too. But you got to figure out what works for you. Everybody's different. That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember during that time, I was doing cold showers every single day, like very religiously. And it helped a lot of the time. And yeah, I like that because I think at different stages in your life too, you need different things. Yeah, you don't have to do the one thing that's like, there's so many different things that are going to be beneficial.
Be flexible.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what do you do now?
Yeah, for like just
for
overall
like
healing.
overall healing.
Yeah, I do breath work at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. I go to a couple different like energy healing people. That makes a huge difference. I do a lot of like meditating. I journal. I like write out things I'm wanting to release and like let it go into like just get rid of.
Let it go.
Yeah, a lot of like limiting beliefs that I have. I go to the gym a few days a week. Now that it's getting warmer, I'm huge into grounding and being outside. And so every second I can be outside. If there's a little bit of sunshine, I'm doing a walk or getting outside. So those are probably some of the biggest things. And I think because I've been on a huge spiritual journey too. So I think just like trusting in the power of the universe and that whatever I speak happens. And so I think that's a huge thing that I do for like business and manifestation, which is kind of where a lot of that spiritual journey started. But like, oh, I can also speak these other things, that I can be calm, that I don't have to, deal with these hard things, that I can also start speaking into existence like the life that I want. And so I think that's been a huge game changer for myself as well.
Absolutely. And to highlight, I'm totally into manifestation, vision boards, like not traditional vision boards will emphasize that, like very specific process for that. Manifestation is real. And the reason I say that, and this, Psychology 101 is that your belief systems create your thoughts create your emotions create your behaviors create your results. It doesn't go any other way than that. So if you're having these thoughts and you're speaking something you don't want, you will have emotions about that and you will act in accordance to it. If you start speaking into existence what you truly desire, whether that's who you want to be or what you want to do, you're going to have new emotions, creating new behaviors, creating new results. So why not speak into existence what you truly desire? I mean, I'm sure and I don't coach without invitation, as I'm sure you don't therapy somebody without somebody asking for your help. I did when I first began, and wife didn't like that one for good reason.
Yeah.
Not my place at times. You got to ask, but there's times you listen to people and the way somebody speaks is a reflection of their belief systems.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I feel like I catch myself saying things out loud where I'm like, oh, wait, I don't want to like speak that into existence. And like, oh, that is maybe a deep rooted belief that I have that I didn't even realize. Like whenever I say like, oh, I'm busy, or oh, this or oh, that. And like, it's one thing to like just say an off thought, but if it's like something that I believe and then I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to be speaking that. Or a huge thing recently is I've almost been like hyper fixated on like the expenses that I'm having and like wanting to like remove a lot of those expenses so that I have more profit at the end of each month. But I realize that by hyper fixating on that for the past 2 months, all I'm doing is manifesting more expenses. And so like sometimes we focus on like, okay, here's the things I do want, here's the things I don't want. And so we're saying we don't want it, but the universe listens to like every single thing you're saying, even if it's the things you don't want, and you start speaking that too. So I've really had to like reframe things and like catch myself. I like, no, I need to be focusing on the things I want. And so instead of like when people are like, I want to get out of debt, you're just going to manifest more debt. It's like, how about you instead speak overflow and abundance and all of these other things? And so, and yeah, I can't remember. There's like a quote of like, I can't remember the quote, but basically the universe listens to like every single word you're saying. Oh, I can't remember the quote off the top of my head. Oh, but it's something like what we want, we get, and what we don't want, or what we focus on that we don't want, we also get, or what we fear, we get. And so you have to like really dig into those like rooted beliefs to not keep attracting what you also don't want.
Yeah, what you focus on will manifest, right?
Yeah, for good or bad.
I don't want this debt. I don't want this debt. Like you're hyper fixating on this money problem and it grows. And then for the next 10 years, you're like, why do I keep having this problem?
Totally.
It's like, I want abundance. I want money. I want to make this specific dollar figure. I want to save this exact money. Why not focus on what you truly want?
Yeah.
over the negative side of things.
Yeah, I did that with dating too, where I was like, I'm sick of men who don't value me, who don't appreciate me. I don't want this. I don't want that. I want a good guy. I don't want people who don't value me and appreciate me. But I kept speaking who don't value and don't appreciate me. And so I kept getting that. And I had to like drop those stories and like remove those stories. And so I feel like sometimes there's like deep work you have to do to like remove the old stories because it's very emotionally charged. And same with like money stuff can be very emotionally charged. You have to like do some work to remove that so it doesn't feel so strong, and then just shift to like, okay, here's what I do desire and only be speaking that.
Absolutely.
But a lot of times like people don't even realize that they're doing that every single day on a daily basis.
Absolutely. So going back to your life, right? Panic attacks, the burnout. Tell us your process. Like, how did you, we're talking about other people looking at their beliefs. What was your process of helping yourself and also getting help to, hey, these are my beliefs. How did you start to shift that so that these guys listening to this can experience the same?
Yeah. Like,
did that make sense?
I think so. So basically how to remove the old limiting beliefs to like kind of have the life that you want.
Yeah. What was your process for looking at your beliefs, changing your thought processes to change your emotion, creating a new result for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think this happened for burnout. This also happened to like, so I could start making money. There were a lot of things, but essentially I would like come up with like a goal that I wanted. And so, yeah, if it was like burnout, like, okay, I actually want to live a very like calm and peaceful life. And so, and then as I did that, I kind of just like intuitively felt like, okay, what feels like it's blocking that, or what types of things feel like they're coming up for me? Especially if I'm specific, like, okay, I want a calm and peaceful life. And if there's a twinge of like, okay, but then you're not going to have money, or okay, but then you have like any of those types of things, or like, oh, are you worthy of that? Or wait, you're trying to make this much money while working only this many hours a week. Like, I don't know if that's possible. So those are like the limiting beliefs I felt like that came up for me. So then I would write that down and I would challenge that. And so if the belief was like, oh, you're only worthy of money if you work hard, then it's like, well, is that inherently true? Like, no, especially if you have smart systems in place, you can actually make a lot of money while working even less. And so I'd almost have to like write those out. I did a lot of journaling. So for anyone listening, yeah, like writing stuff down and journaling. Or if it's that I'm just not worthy of abundance in general, and I think about like my childhood and how I grew up with like not very much money, it's like, yeah, of course I'm going to maybe now struggle if I never felt like I've ever had much money in my whole life. And so I would have to do a lot of like writing things out. Is that true? Challenging the belief. Okay, well, here's why it's not true. And like coming up with new beliefs. And then almost just like catching myself throughout the day when one of those limiting beliefs came up. Like, no, I already challenged that and it's not true. And here's my new belief instead. Here's my new thought instead. Almost having like some mantras or affirmations for myself, kind of focusing just on a couple at a time. So those were huge things that I did. And then I also tapped into like, I guess that's where I did like Reiki, or that's where I would do breath work, or that's where I'd like go outside and like ground myself into the earth, where I almost like would visually see these old beliefs like leaving my body, where I was like, these things are done, or like writing things down and burning it. Like, this is in the past. I am done with this now. There's no longer this emotional charge to this limiting belief. This thing is done. And then I would tap into like my new desired feelings of like, okay, what would it feel like? Like, I remember on my birthday this past year in August, like laying out in the grass and just being like, what would it be like to like be just calm, be peaceful, to not have to work so much? Like, I was canceling, like anytime friends would try and hang out with me on the weekends, I was like, I'm either working or I'm resting from working. Every night that I put my daughter to bed, I was working, and I would be working throughout the day too, like when the nanny was there and stuff. And I was like, I don't want to have to do that anymore. Like, I'm tired. I want to be able to enjoy life. So I had to like fully visualize what now that I've removed some limiting beliefs, what's it going to feel like to now have this calm and peaceful life, and like fully embodying whatever, like you let go of the limiting belief, but how can you fully embody this new self? And I remember even like that same day, like walking to the trash can, and like I'm normally just kind of like fast paced. And I was like, no, we're in a calm and peaceful state. So how would a calm and peaceful person walk? They would walk slowly and leisurely, and like little things like that, where I was just trying to like fully embody this new state, and it takes time. And so that's where we're talking about too. It's not like instantly the next day I'm just so calm and don't have much work. And so that's where I just had to like trust, like, okay, this is working. And now I have like so much free time. It's crazy, but it takes time. And so, yeah, there's a lot of like removing stuff and then a lot of like adding stuff in and tapping into that feeling.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is intention.
Yeah.
You're not just journaling to check the box.
Mhm.
I did my healing work for the day.
Yeah, totally. People do it all the time.
No, it's what is it I want to work on? And you're actually intentionally journaling. Hey, this is my belief and this is my new way of being.
Mhm.
What came to mind is oftentimes I'm going in my cold shower, listening to music, getting out, starting music or a motivational speech to start the day. It's like, no, I can actually start to do my cold shower with an intention, which will naturally make it better. But the one thing that I loved is asking the question, how would this person do this? How would a calm person do this? Really feeling what that would feel like. And that's the power of manifestation, is that emotion, because you start to feel the emotions and then you act in accordance to that, creating the new result. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it's been cool doing that. And even now we're talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of areas where I'm not doing that. And like, and this is where like, it's just this continuous thing. Because for a while, and I don't know if I've been doing this as much lately, but it's like, how would a multimillionaire act on a day-to-day basis? And what would they be doing? How would this type of person, how would a successful, in my case, therapy business coach go about their day? What would they be doing? And so it's for everything in life, anything that you want, whether it has to do with business or whether it just has to do with life stuff. How would, like, if someone's anxious, how would a like calm and peaceful person be acting versus like the previous anxious person? And so yeah, it's a very powerful thing for any state of life, and having the intention, like you said, which I love.
It's the levels, right? You went from anxious to calm, from burnout to living on purpose. It's like, okay, then there's the next level. And that's the journey to life. If you're not growing, quite frankly, you're dying. I genuinely believe that. That's a belief system of mine of like, no, you're either growing or you're dying.
Yeah, if you're not watering the plant and it's dying, so you better be watering it and giving it sunlight.
There's not a lot of gray space.
Yeah.
Like your business is growing or it's not. You're either becoming a better version of yourself or you're not. Because like you mentioned, watering, it's like a plant can't get better without water. You have to be giving water to all your life. And that's the beautiful thing about life. You just have to enjoy it. That doesn't mean you have to overwater either. You know, you're talking that we don't have to work X amount of hours to be worthy of this X amount of dollars. No, you can work 4 hours a week and make good money. Why can't you? Somebody's doing it.
Yeah, I just picked up that book the other day for the first time, The
Me
4-Hour
too.
Work Week.
I'm reading it right now. It's right here.
I started reading it at the library this week, and I've heard about it for years, and I'm like, this is so good. I need to get this. Yeah.
But in reality, and the book will challenge you because our beliefs are so hardwired that it's like, is that possible?
Yeah. To remove a lot of beliefs for anything in life.
I worked 12 hours yesterday.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wait, you work 4 hours and you make quadruple the amount of money I do. Why can't I do that? And it's really a matter of asking the right questions. Because the victor and the victim are essentially one of the same. They both experience a challenge. The difference is the victim stays in the challenge. I could pick up that 4-hour work week and say, you know what? This is all fake. I have to work 8 hours every single day to make the money that I desire. And that's not the writer of the 4-hour work week. I forget the author's name. That's not their problem because they're going to keep working 4 hours a week and making more money.
Totally.
That's the victim. I could also be a victor and say, you know what? Somebody else is doing that. So why can't I? And the truth is also, if not now, then when? It's like, if I'm not going to be working to the life that I truly desire, then when will I actually do it? Like, why not start now? Might take some time, and that's okay. I do have a curious question though. You said your birthday's in August. What day's your birthday?
The 24th.
Okay, mine's the 4th.
Oh, cool.
So I had to ask. I was
Yeah.
like, Leo to Leo, we got to figure this
I'm
out.
a Virgo by 7 hours because, I was born at 7 a.m. And I'm like, I have a little bit of Leo in me, but I have a lot of Virgo in me.
Shoot.
But I do have a little bit of Leo too.
Whenever you're at the beginning or end,
I've heard that, because sometimes I read stuff with Virgos. I'm like, they sound so boring. And I'm like, Leos are more fun. I'm like, I have a little bit of that, but I'm for sure a Virgo.
Oh, Leos can be complete assholes though. So
Yeah,
you got to be a
that.
healthy Leo.
Yeah, I have a lot of Virgo in me. And so does my daughter. She's also a Virgo.
That's
I was
amazing.
like, why is she so like me? And I was like, oh wait, she's a Virgo too. Okay.
Why are you so like me?
Very organized, planning everything. Very
Absolutely.
funny.
I don't have kids myself, like I mentioned, but I do hear that they can be the ones that trigger you the most.
Oh yeah.
Which makes you to be better, right?
Totally. Yeah.
You got to look within whenever you're triggered. Like, what is causing this?
Yeah, and it creates a lot of understanding too, because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I was that way as a kid, and my parents, struggled with that. But because I am like that, I'm like, no, I get exactly where she's coming from.
Absolutely, which is good.
Yeah,
it's important to understand.
Yeah.
It'll help creates a safe environment for your kid to thrive, right?
Yeah.
So jumping into business, right? We've talked a lot about the becoming side of things, changing your language, changing your beliefs. I feel like it's fair to say your skill set, although you work with therapists, is really applicable to any entrepreneur out there looking to scale their business. What would be if somebody's wanting to transition from corporate world to entrepreneurship, what would your advice be for them?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would definitely say find people who have been there and follow their footsteps instead of trying to recreate and make all of your mistakes all over again. Just find people who've been successful. Hopefully hire someone to help you, but even just listen to podcasts, read books, follow them on social media, follow all the if they have trainings, follow all the exact steps that they did. And some people might be like, oh, I don't even know what kind of entrepreneur I want to do or be. And so that's where I would just say more research. But once you do the research and figure out okay, here's kind of a path that I want to follow, definitely there's people who have been there before, so don't make the same mistake. So that's a huge thing. And then the other thing is just being really intentional with your time on the most important things that are actually going to move the needle forward. So often people waste so much time on fluff that does not matter. And if it's not getting more, whatever, there's so many different types of businesses, but if it's not getting more clients, customers, people reaching out to you to book with you or to work with you, that needs to be your main focus. How can I get more people to be on my schedule, to pay me to do these things? And simultaneously also creating the best product or offer or whatever so that it's, long standing and so that you get repeat customers or you get people that want to continue working with you or that refer. So that's also important. Is creating the best offer or product or service possible, and then spending most of your time driving traffic and driving people to that. People get so caught up in the fluff of well, this needs to be perfect first, that needs to be perfect, or they're honestly just afraid. People view marketing as a scary word or salesy. They don't want to be salesy. They've had bad experiences with salespeople, but it's any business needs to sell, and you have to learn how to sell. And selling is not this bad, icky thing. If you truly believe in your product or service, you're going to have to sell, and you're going to have to sell all the time. And so I think that's the other thing, learning how to sell your product and offer. And then the other biggest thing that I teach therapists, business coaches to do, but honestly anyone, is exploring the competitors and what makes you want to buy from a competitor, what makes you not want to buy from a competitor, and making sure you're not doing all the things that would fall into the don't want to. Because I think sometimes people forget how subtle little things can make such a massive difference. And so really diving deep into that. I was looking for a therapist the other day, and it was funny because I teach therapists how to basically get more clients to find them. And when I was looking for one, I was the main thing I'm looking at honestly is their headshots on Psychology Today or different things. And I was sometimes people might be doing all this other stuff to make sure everything else is perfect when sometimes it's something so simple. And then that leads to the website, which then leads to like, are you using good messaging that relates to clients and, like all of that stuff. But like sometimes people miss a huge thing too. And so I always tell people like, whatever you're trying to sell, go through your competitors and see what is causing you to want to work with someone versus not. So
I love that. The littlest things. I'm such a people person too. So I straight look at the pictures. So I don't think I've ever talked about this, but there is a lot of people that do have a sales problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like sales, I've had a bad experience. I can confidently say if somebody has a sales problem, they have a money problem.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Like, it directly correlates.
Yeah.
Like, I know this sounds weird because a lot of people couldn't agree with this.
Mm-hmm.
I love when a door-to-door person comes and tries to sell me. Because in some aspects, if I know I want the product, I'll totally buy it. Mm-hmm. But I've also been in sales since I've been 16. So I know all the hard objections and I'll go back and forth with them all day. Because it makes me better too.
Yeah. Door-to-door sales for a summer and it was fun.
Yeah. It's like, please sell to me. Mm-hmm. Because if somebody walks up to me, and this is like just like a perspective. If somebody walks up to somebody with a backpack and says, "Do you want to buy this backpack?" Most people's instinct will be to immediately say no. My question is, what's in the bag? Mm-hmm. I'll buy anything if it serves me. Mm-hmm. Because if that bag has $1 million in it and somebody's saying that this is worth 100,000, I'm going to have 100,000 that day. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to get this back. Mm-hmm. People really need to take a step back and realize that selling is just serving. Mm-hmm. And they're just trying to find the person that needs their help. Mm-hmm. And that's a positive thing as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Yeah. In all businesses, you're trying to sell something. And so instead of like, well, I don't want to be a salesy person, it's like, well, yeah, if you want money, then you're going to have to.
And with that, you don't have to be for everybody. Mm-hmm. If you're for everyone, you're for nobody. Mm-hmm. It's okay to get those no's.
Yeah.
I look at it as, I need to talk to X amount of people to get my yes. Mm-hmm. So I look for the no's. Say, okay, yep. I'm on no 3. I got 2 more to go, whatever that number is for you.
Absolutely.
But that's what I would also suggest to any of these entrepreneurs listening to this is know your numbers. Mm-hmm. How many no's do you need to get to the yes? Then you can start to fill your calendar and say, okay, today I can book 3 and I need to get 2 no's to get a yes. Mm-hmm. So if you get 2 no's, you get to go into that last appointment stoked and jazzed because you know that this one's going to be the yes, mm-hmm. which is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. All numbers game.
So you mentioned fluff, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people fill their schedule with fluff, not allowing them to get as many people on their calendar. Mm-hmm. For the therapists out there, what does that fluff usually look like?
Yeah. Trying to spend forever on like, well, what kind of logo do I need? What's the perfect business name? Does my website look perfect? They're too afraid to add their video to their Psychology Today profile, which is just a therapist directory, so they don't do that. They spend too much time researching like what they need to add to certain things or like kind of dabbling into who am I going to network with or what am I going to add to my profile? Because I'm big on teaching people how to get found online and on Google. And so there's a lot of that kind of stuff. Or like, I don't know who my niche is. I don't know who I want to target. Well, I like working with these 10 things. I don't know how to narrow it down. And so there's a lot of fluff with that. Sometimes people get caught up in the fluff of like the early business stages too, of like, oh, well, I don't even know how to register my business. I'll put it off. I don't even know how to do this. I'll put it off. Or like, I don't even know if clients are out there. There's so much negativity of like, the economy's bad. No one's buying anything. No one's going to spend money when they could use their insurance and this and that. Once again, the numbers game. It's like, yes, there's a lot of people struggling and there's people who are going to pay you. And so I think just a lot of stuff like that, specifically with like the therapists that I help. If they try and grow on social media, which they don't need to, but if they do, there's all of this like fear, like, okay, I need to put out, all these posts and then I'm just doing 1 post a month, if that, and not getting found. So there's a lot of like thinking and spiraling that people do rather than just like take action, take action, take action. And when people join my program, I'm like, do this, this, and this. You can do all of these things very quickly, very simply. They won't even take that long. Don't worry about all this other stuff.
Can you share surface level what those things are?
Yeah. So for a therapist, I'm like, get a Google business profile right away and start getting reviews from colleagues, because therapists can't even ask clients for reviews. And so we have to ask colleagues. So I'm like, start asking colleagues right away. That's going to help boost the algorithm. Start adding photos, add posts, like little updates on your Google profile. Get that up and running right away. And then next thing, your therapist directories. Get on them if you're not. Add a video. That's the biggest thing that people aren't doing. Adding good headshots, adding photos, adding good blurbs. To like the front and center of your therapist directories, front and center of your Google profile, and then front and center of your website. So the next thing is, some people don't have a website yet, but a lot of people I do work with do have a website already. And they're overwhelmed because, yeah, they do need to change a lot of things to their website. But I'm like, most people only go to your homepage. So just focus on your homepage for now. Just focus on the top half for now, and make sure you're speaking. Like, let's have some type of niche figured out. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can change it. You're not locked into that forever. But let's figure out who you like working with, speaking their pain, rather than like, I love being a therapist and I love helping with this and that. And like, I'll provide a safe and compassionate space. And it's like, yeah, all of that, like, they don't care. Like,
that's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah, exactly. You're supposed to do that anyway. So let's talk about their biggest pain points and struggles and have that at the top of the website, and really speak to the client and make sure the design looks decent. And so those are like the first three things that I'm like, let's just get the ball rolling with this. And then we can take care of the other stuff. And there's other important things as well.
Absolutely. It's not that simple, or everybody would
Yeah,
have a
exactly. And
practice.
I know some of that can feel overwhelming too, but I'm always like, let's just simplify it. Yeah. And when I'm going through people's website, they're like, oh, I need to change everything. It's like, no, let's just focus on this tiny little part. This is the main part that most people are going to see. Don't even worry about the other pages.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And you'll probably change your website again in a couple of months, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Or you figure it out, it works, and you just leave it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it'll take a couple of revamps.
Yeah.
It's in my last podcast, we talked about this, is if you have a plan B, you might as well just go there, because you're going to end up there anyways.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Plan A, that's it. You can have a plan A, point 1, point 2, point 3, because you have to make pivots.
Mm-hmm.
We're not God. We're not the universe. That'd be pretty cool, but we're not.
Mm-hmm.
You would have all the answers. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know where you should be. You know that vision, but you don't know the steps between. So it's okay to pivot along your journey to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love how simple it is. And the truth is, those will make immediate impact. So when you mention reviews, that's so interesting. I didn't know therapists can ask for reviews from their clients.
Yeah, because it puts them in like an uncomfortable situation and a therapeutic relationship. I mean, it's very...
Because you guys can't even say hi to your clients unless they say hi first, right?
Meet them in public. Yep, they have to say hi. We can't say hi to them first. There's a lot of different things that therapists have to deal with. And so, but yeah, I like just find the solution. Yeah, we can't ask clients, but we can ask colleagues. We can ask people who know us well. We can ask different friends, and there's always a solution.
Which I also understand. Like, I worked with a funeral home a while back, and she talked about how there's often times that she'll go to a grocery store, be checking out, and somebody will see her face and just they'll just immediately break down. And it's not about her. Yeah. It's that's what they attach to their trauma that's triggering. They lost a mom, a brother, a sister, whatever the case was. And it's tough. So I also understand that in that respect, because maybe the therapist was helping them through something really traumatic, and they ultimately would be a trigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you agree with that, or what are your thoughts?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's that aspect. There's like the HIPAA, and just they're telling us their biggest, darkest secrets of their life, and like, just we have to be so careful with protecting that, never putting them in an uncomfortable situation, never putting them in a situation where they feel obligated, like, my therapist is not going to help me unless I give them this review. And yeah, there's so many different, and then, we are a representation of like them talking through some very traumatic things.
Absolutely. With that, like you mentioned, we can be resourceful. There is other people that will write reviews for you, and it's not to lie about it. It's just a review.
Yeah, they're never pretending to be a client. There it is. This person's I'm great at helping with X, Y, and Z, or this person's a colleague of mine and they're great at X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Just to build the visibility and build the credibility.
That's amazing. So what's next for you? Like, what are your goals for 2025?
Yeah, I have a lot of big things. So I'm writing a book right now, which I'm very excited about. So that should be out in the summer, which I'm stoked for. So that's a big thing. I have my 3rd retreat that I'm doing in October. So I did one just recently, one last year. So I'm doing my 3rd one. So I'm excited for that. And then just continuing to like grow my coaching program. I'm putting so many more like smarter systems in place and just continuing to make things better and better for the therapists in there and doing all the things to like reach out to as many therapists as I can. Like I know that my program can give some really incredible results. And so I'm like, I just want every therapist under the sun everywhere to know that it exists. So yeah, just growing that. So the rest of 2025, I'll just be doing everything I can to continue to get that message out into the world that therapists can make good money while helping good people or helping a lot of people. Because a lot of times therapists still associate money with like, oh, I'm not as good of a person if I'm trying to like make all this money. It's like, no, you can help people and make a lot of money. So those are some of the biggest things. And then I do want to start a podcast for myself, likely in the fall, winter time. I just want to get my book going first. So
Absolutely.
Continue to preventing the burnout.
I personally take one thing at a time. Like when I launched the podcast, that was the podcast year, right? This year was the book year. So cool. I like how you're doing that.
Yeah.
It can get overwhelming too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to set yourself up for the utmost success.
Yeah. And I really have been valuing my free time. So I've been loving that. And I love the work that I do and like to be smart with that.
I will tell you, I haven't figured out how to work 4 hours a week on the podcast. So if you figure that out, please let me know. Podcasts are a lot of work, but so worth it.
Yeah.
Best decision I've ever made with other than marrying that woman over there.
Yes.
Best decision I made with my life.
Cool.
The connections, the people, everything, the impact. It's a beautiful thing.
I love that.
The one last thing I'll say is therapists deserve to get paid.
Yes.
They really do.
Yeah.
We all deserve a good life. We don't all get that.
Mm-hmm.
You get what you work for.
Therapists are like the most highly educated while simultaneously being the lowest paid profession, which is crazy when you think about the impact.
It's just insane.
But like I spent a lot of time just telling therapists like it's okay to charge that much. It's okay to you deserve to be paid money too. Yeah.
Well, one of the therapists that I look up to the most is Jordan Peterson. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've looked into his work, being a coach as well as a therapist.
Yeah.
He started off as simple lectures. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like he started out making money. Mm-hmm. He's making more money than we dream of now, I'm sure. I think he makes like $300,000 alone each year from his books, maybe even more.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's making such a massive impact. He deserves to get paid that. And as a therapist, it's not to say you're going to reach Jordan Peterson's status. Maybe you will. And if that's what you want, great. But you're making more of an impact on a one-on-one level right now than you can ever imagine. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think of like, what is that worth to somebody? Like your panic attacks every single day. Like, what is the price that somebody's willing to pay to not experience that anymore?
Absolutely.
If you took somebody from panic attacks every day to not a panic attack for the rest of their life.
Oh, people would pay so much money for that. Yeah.
That is worth the money. Mm-hmm. Like that value is it's amazing. And yes, somebody will pay a lot of money to help with that transformation.
Absolutely.
I could keep talking to you. I love the therapy world. I love the coaching world. I love the business world. You own all of it and you're very knowledgeable. So thanks for coming on. I do have a couple more quick questions though. One is, what is your hot take on the therapy world? Other than therapists deserve to get paid money, like what is a hot take you have?
On the therapy world?
Yeah, therapy overall. Or just the mental health.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing is people are so afraid that AI is going to take over. And I hear a lot of like fear for that. Or like, what if therapists aren't needed? I'm like, people don't even want to do virtual therapy anymore. People are like, I want to come in person. And so my hot take is AI and all this stuff is not going to take over therapy when people are like begging to get back in person. I have a lot of therapists who are virtual only and they're like, everyone just keeps saying they want in person. And I'm like, yeah, people like face-to-face. And so I think that's my at least current hot take is people will always need therapists, and people appreciate the face-to-face value
Yeah,
of that. You can't
absolutely.
replace that with a computer.
I think it'll enhance your work.
Yeah, absolutely. And
But
yeah,
it won't
AI
take
can
away.
be really valuable for tools and stuff, but there's people who are like afraid that it's going to like completely take over therapist jobs. And like, no, people need people
Absolutely.
and want that. Yeah.
It's like coaching. I've heard the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, what if like life coaches aren't needed? Or what if, you know, books go away? It's like there's going to be more books in the world, but the ones that actually take the time to write their book and have a personal message, that's what people are going to want to read.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it can enhance your work, but there's no way. Yeah, I'm one of those few people. If I'm going to get therapy, I want in person as well.
Yeah. And there's still a place for virtual for the therapists who are growing that way. But yeah, people have a preference for in person.
And sometimes I don't want to drive either. So I'm okay with virtual too.
Yeah.
I'm flexible. What is your definition of an authentic life?
I like that question. I would say fully doing things like for yourself, not in a selfish way, but just not trying to do things for other people or to, like try and please other people or to make yourself look a certain way. Just truly living the way you want to live and being fully in alignment with like your values. So figuring out what are your core values and how can I always be in alignment with that? And if you ever make a decision out of alignment with that, okay, what caused that and how can I fix that so I don't do that anymore, so that I'm not here trying to do things for other people or do things to look or feel a certain way.
Spot on, right? Say the hard thing when it's the truth and live the way that you know to be true even when it's hard.
Yeah.
And do what you can to make it easy.
Absolutely.
Because that result that you absolutely love, like living authentic, the highest vibration is authenticity. Most people believe it's love. It's not. You can love yourself and not be fulfilled with yourself. When you're truly authentic, that's where love also just completely amplifies. So you saying that, like, that's just a reinforcer. Like when I speak my truth, even when it's hard, it builds my confidence to even love myself that much more. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And to these entrepreneurs out in the world that are listening in, that are striving to accomplish great success, such as yourself, but looking to remain authentic, what would be your last message to them today?
I would say to come up with your why of why you're wanting to grow a business, why you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, why you're wanting to do anything in life, and come up with a game plan for like the action steps you need to take towards that bigger why. And don't depend on your feelings for the day or that motivation piece. Just do it because you said you're going to do it and focus on that bigger why.
Perfect. I love that. Can I ask one more follow-up to that? Doing what you say you're going to do even when you don't feel like it. What are the tools and resources you use to ensure that you do what you say even when you don't want to?
Yeah, I put it on my calendar.
Okay.
And so I'll put things in my calendar that I'm saying I'm going to do. I'll speak it out loud. Hey, I'm doing this. I'll tell people like what I'm going to do. Put it in my calendar, write it down, make notes, have a to-do list where I'm like ensuring that that's something that I'm going to do. Yeah, I think just speaking it either to myself or to the world, like this is what I'm doing. And then that way, when I'm not feeling like it, it's like, well, I already said I was going to do it. So, and it's already here.
I use a calendar as well. And that's always my answer. But I'm also, of course, always curious to figure out what other people are doing.
Yeah. Telling people too. If I say something to people and I don't do it, I would feel really dumb. So I'm like, well, the more people I tell that I'm going to do something, then I better do it.
Absolutely. Actually, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's, as I mentioned before, show me your calendar and I'll show you your life in 5 years. It's just the reality.
Yeah.
If you show up every single day doing what you say you're going to do, your life is, maybe it's not where you want it right now, but it will get there
Mm-hmm.
as long as you just keep doing what you say you're going to do and doing the right things. If you put in the fluff in there, then cut that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it won't take 5 years. Maybe it'll take a year instead.
Mm-hmm.
That mind. Thanks so much again for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks
Have
for
a good
having
one,
me.
everybody. Thanks so much for joining the Journey to Authenticity podcast today. If you like what both myself and Jessica had to say, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. This helps to ensure that we get the highest quality and most interesting guests to help you transform your life. Also, why I have you here. Recently, I just came out with my book, The Code of Transformation. This connects directly to what me and Jessica were talking about today. Really looking in, finding that awareness, really building your true authentic self, creating that clear vision for life, and starting that transformation journey. So if you're ready to take the next step, go get my book with the link below. Have a good one, everybody.